I didn't move. The refrigerator door stayed open, its pale light spilling across the kitchen floor like something alive. The milk bottle lay on its side, slowly rocking, as if it had just been set down by an invisible hand. She's still hungry, my voice, but not my breath. I stood there in the hallway, every muscle locked, listening. The house felt aware of me now, like it knew I was finally paying attention. I forced myself to step forward. The kitchen was empty. No footsteps. No shadows moving away. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the open door waiting to be closed. I shut it with shaking hands. That was the moment I understood something that made my stomach twist. It didn't need to chase us. It didn't need to knock anymore. It had learned patience. Lisa didn't wake up that night. Not once. She slept deeper than I'd ever seen her sleep. Too deep. In the morning, I had to shake her harder than usual. When her eyes finally opened, they didn't focus on me right away. "Mom," she murmured slowly, "you were nicer last night." Ice ran through my veins. "What do you mean?" She smiled faintly. "You didn't say no." "I didn't come into your room," I said carefully. She frowned. "Yes, you did." I said nothing. At school drop-off, she hugged me tighter than usual. "Don't be mad at her," she whispered into my shoulder. "Mad at who?" "You," she said simply. "The other you." That afternoon, I searched the house. Every room, every corner, under the stairs, the attic. Nothing. But the mirrors. Every mirror felt wrong, like they were showing me a version of myself that lagged just a fraction of a second behind. That evening, I finally checked the trash bin outside. At the very bottom was a milk carton I didn't recognize. Different brand, different expiration date. Still cold. I dropped it like it burned me. I didn't buy that. That night, I locked Lisa's door from the outside. I hated myself for it, but fear was louder than guilt. "Mom," she called softly, "why did you lock it?" "To keep you safe," I said, sitting against the door. There was a pause, then calm acceptance. "Okay," she said. "She said you would do that." My heart pounded. She said, "Yes, she knows you get scared easily." I swallowed hard. "What else does she know?" Lisa yawned. "Everything." The lights flickered. From inside the room, I heard a second set of footsteps, slow, deliberate, circling the bed. Then my voice whispered through the door, closer than it should have been. "You shouldn't lock me out of my own child." My hands flew to my mouth to stop myself from screaming, because the voice wasn't angry. It was disappointed, and I finally understood the truth. It wasn't copying me anymore. It was becoming me. I slammed the door shut with my foot and pressed my entire weight against it. My arms wrapped tightly around Lisa. Her scream echoed in my ears long after her mouth closed. "SHHH, it's okay," I whispered, though my own voice was breaking. I've got you. On the other side of the door, the footsteps stopped. Silence. Then soft laughter. Not loud, not playful, mocking. Lisa, my voice said again, perfectly calm. Why are you hiding from me? My knees felt weak. I slid down until my back hit the floor, still blocking the door. Lisa's small hands were clenched in my shirt, like she was afraid I'd vanish if she let go. That's not me, I said under my breath. That's not me. The doorknob twisted slowly. Click, click, like it was testing how far it could go. Mommy, Lisa whispered, barely audible. It doesn't like when you ignore it. I felt a cold pressure behind my eyes. How do you know that? She hesitated. Because it told me. The handle stopped moving. Then the voice changed, not angry, not sweet, curious. Why are you pretending? It asked. I'm doing everything you do. A sharp knock hit the door once. I flinched. Another knock. Harder. You tuck her in, it continued. You bring her milk. You help her sleep. Knock, knock, knock. Why does she need you when she already has me? The door rattled violently. Lisa buried her face into my chest, sobbing. Stop, I screamed. Leave us alone. The knocking ceased instantly. The silence afterward was worse. I waited. Seconds stretched into minutes. My legs burned from holding the door shut, but I didn't move. Finally, footsteps retreated. Down the hallway, down the stairs. Gone. Morning light felt unreal. I barely remembered how I got us through the night. Lisa slept curled into my side like a frightened animal. I didn't close my eyes once. At school, her teacher pulled me aside. Is everything okay at home? She asked gently. Lisa's been different. My stomach tightened. Different how? She keeps drawing the same picture, the teacher said, handing me a stack of papers. Every drawing showed the same thing. A woman standing in a doorway. Two faces. One smiling, one watching. Both labeled Mom. That night, I checked every lock, every window, every mirror. I covered them all. No milk. Not tonight. Not ever again. When Lisa went to bed, she looked calmer than she had in days. Almost relieved. She won't come now, she whispered. Who? I asked. She smiled faintly. The other mommy. I stayed awake in the hallway, listening. At exactly 3:00 a.m., the milk bottle rolled across the kitchen floor by itself. I didn't touch it. Then the refrigerator door opened. Slowly. From inside the dark kitchen, my voice whispered softly, she's still hungry. And I realized something far worse than fear. It wasn't trying to scare us anymore. It was waiting. I didn't sleep that night. I lay completely still beside Lisa, counting each breath, each rise and fall of her small chest. The room felt colder than usual, like the warmth had been drained out of the walls. Every shadow seemed longer, every sound felt closer. The breathing I'd heard earlier hadn't stopped. It was faint now, almost careful, like whoever was making it knew I was listening. I squeezed my eyes shut. It's stress, I told myself. Lack of sleep. Your mind is playing tricks on you. But then Lisa shifted beside me and whispered, half asleep, "Mom, why are you standing?" My eyes flew open. "I'm not standing," I said quickly, sitting up. "I'm right here." She didn't respond. Her breathing was slow again. Steady. Asleep. I stared at the far corner of the room, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might wake her. The corner was empty, but the darkness there felt thicker, heavier, like it had weight. I didn't dare turn on the light. Morning came in fragments. Lisa woke up late again. Her skin looked pale, almost gray, and there were faint, dark veins visible beneath her eyes. She barely touched her breakfast. "Did you sleep?" I asked. She nodded slowly. "Yes, but the milk tasted different." My hand froze mid-motion. "Different how?" She shrugged. "Warm and sweet." I felt sick. After I dropped her at school, I sat in the car for nearly 10 minutes, staring at the steering wheel. My reflection in the rearview mirror looked wrong, tired, hollow, like something was wearing my face instead of living in it. That afternoon, I found the milk carton in the trash. Empty. I knew I hadn't thrown it away. That night, I decided to stay awake. No milk, no chances. When Lisa asked for it, I knelt in front of her and said firmly, "Not tonight." Her face changed instantly. Not anger, not sadness, fear. "But if I don't drink it," she whispered, "she'll come." "Who will come?" I asked, fighting to keep my voice calm. Lisa shook her head. "You told me not to say." My blood ran cold. "Who told you that?" She finally looked at me then, tears forming in her eyes. "You did." I tucked her into bed anyway and sat beside her, refusing to leave. Hours passed. Midnight came and went. At 2:17 a.m., I heard it. Footsteps, slow, bare, coming up the stairs. I held my breath. The doorknob turned gently, like someone trying not to wake a sleeping child. Then my own voice spoke from the other side of the door. "Lisa, Mommy's here with your milk." Lisa screamed. I grabbed her and backed away as the door began to open inch by inch. "Don't look at it," Lisa cried, burying her face in my chest. "If you look at it, it knows." The door creaked wider, and whatever was standing there was breathing for both of us. I stood frozen on the porch, my fingers tightening around the plastic milk bottle. "Lisa," I whispered again, pressing my ear closer to the door. Silence. Then I heard it, slow, deliberate footsteps moving across the wooden floor inside the house. Each step sounded heavier than it should have, as if whoever was walking wasn't quite used to the body they were in. "Mom." Lisa's voice finally came from upstairs, thin and scared. Relief flooded me. Lisa, sweetheart, open the door. It's me. There was a pause. Then my own voice answered from inside the house again, calm and cold. Go to bed. I'll bring the milk. My heart slammed against my ribs. That wasn't me. I fumbled for my keys, nearly dropping them as my hands trembled. When the door finally opened, I rushed inside and slammed it shut behind me, locking it with shaking fingers. The house smelled wrong. Not rotten, not burned, just unfamiliar like metal and something sweet mixed together. Lisa, I shouted. No answer. I ran upstairs, taking the steps 2 at a time. Her bedroom door was open, the light flickering softly. The curtains swayed even though the window was closed. She wasn't in her bed. Lisa, my voice cracked. I searched the bathroom. Empty. The closet. Empty. Then I heard a faint sound from the hallway behind me. Crying. I spun around and saw her sitting on the floor, knees pulled to her chest, her face buried in her hands. Oh my God, I breathed, dropping to my knees and pulling her into my arms. I'm here. I'm here. She clung to me like she was afraid I'd disappear. Mommy, she whispered, her voice shaking violently. There's something in my room. I swallowed. What do you mean, baby? There's a monster, she said, lifting her head slowly. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying. And it looks exactly like you. A chill ran straight through me. That's not funny, Lisa, I said softly, though my voice lacked conviction. I'm not joking, she sobbed. It talked like you. It told me to go to sleep. And it said it would bring me the milk. I forced myself to stand, even though every instinct screamed at me to grab her and run. Stay here, I said, trying to sound calm. I'll check your room. She grabbed my sleeve. Please don't leave me. I won't, I promised. I'm right here. Her bedroom looked normal, too normal. The bed was neatly made. The milk cup from earlier was gone. No shadows in the corners, no movement under the bed. I checked the closet, nothing but clothes. See, I said, turning to her. There's nothing here. She hesitated. Did you check everywhere? Yes, I lied, because I hadn't checked the mirror. As I turned to leave, I caught my reflection in it, and it smiled. I hadn't. My reflection's lips curled upward slowly, unnaturally wide, its eyes darker than mine should ever be. I staggered back, my breath hitching. When I blinked, it was gone. My reflection was normal again. Lisa was tugging on my hand. Mommy, can you sleep with me tonight? I forced myself to nod. Yes, of course. I poured her the milk I'd bought, watching carefully as she drank it. This time the liquid looked normal. White, harmless. She fell asleep quickly. Too quickly. I lay beside her, staring at the ceiling, afraid to close my eyes. Because somewhere in the house, I could hear someone else breathing, and it was perfectly in sync with me. It always started the same way. A sound in the dark, soft, familiar, almost comforting. "Mom," the voice drifted through the hallway just past midnight, thin and trembling, the way it always did when Lisa couldn't sleep. I opened my eyes and stared at the ceiling, already exhausted. My body felt heavy, like I hadn't rested in days, because I hadn't. "Mom, please." I sighed and pushed myself up from the bed. The house was silent, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator and the ticking clock in the living room. Every night felt longer than the last. "I'm coming, sweetheart," I called out, rubbing my temples. Lisa was sitting upright in her bed when I entered her room, her blanket pulled tight against her chest. Her eyes were wide, glossy, and ringed with dark shadows that no child her age should have. "What's wrong, baby?" I asked softly. "I tried to sleep," she whispered, her voice cracking. "But I can't. Can you bring me some milk?" Of course. It was always the milk. I forced a small smile. "All right, just milk, then back to sleep." She nodded quickly, relief washing over her face. In the kitchen, I poured the milk into her favorite cup, my hands shaking slightly. I didn't understand why she needed it so badly. She never slept without it anymore. Doctors said it was a phase. Stress. Night terrors. But phases didn't feel like this. When I returned, Lisa took the cup with both hands and drank eagerly. Within minutes, her eyelids drooped. "There you go," I whispered. "Sleep now." She did. At least I thought she did. Morning came too fast. "Lisa, wake up," I said, standing beside her bed as sunlight filtered through the curtains. "You're going to be late for school." No response. I shook her gently. Nothing. My stomach dropped. This wasn't the first time. She'd missed school twice already this week because she wouldn't wake up. The teachers were starting to ask questions. "Lisa," I said louder, panic creeping into my voice. Her eyes fluttered open. "Mom, I didn't sleep again." I clenched my jaw. "You drank your milk." She shook her head slowly. It didn't help. That night, when bedtime came again, I checked the fridge. Empty. No milk. I felt a strange unease crawl up my spine. "I'll go get some," I told her, forcing calm into my voice. "I'll be back soon. Lock the door and go to bed." She hesitated. "Promise you'll come back." "I promise." Outside, the street was quiet, too quiet. The store lights flickered as I rushed inside and grabbed the milk. Something felt wrong, but I ignored it. When I returned home, the porch light was off. "Lisa," I called softly, knocking on the door. "It's me. I can't find my keys in the dark." "Open the door." No answer, then a voice. "Go to bed," it said from inside. It sounded exactly like me. My blood ran cold. And that's when I realized I wasn't alone anymore.